Hi, I'm James Schillinglaw, and I'm here with Kristen Jarnagan, who's President and CEO of Discover Long Island. Now, why are we looking at Long Island? Because it's a fabulous destination, and right now, domestic travel is where it's all about. And if you have clients in New York City or the New York City area or anywhere in the Northeast, it's a drive getaway, and there's a lot of things to do here, and they're putting in new programs all the time to make it a much more wonderful destination for you to experience. And we're going to talk to Kristen about all that and more on Insider Travel Report. Now, Kristen, first of all, how are you and where are you?
So I'm well, thank you. Right, that's all we can say these days. I'm healthy, so that's terrific. And my office is located right in the center of Long Island in Hop Hog Industrial Park, which people don't realize is the second largest industrial park in the nation, second only to Silicon Valley. So
Wow.
It's quite the economic engine here.
Absolutely. I did not know that myself. I mean, I know parts of Long Island, have been grown up in the area, but not that part, that's for sure. And there's an awful lot to do and see in Long Island. Let's talk a little bit about what makes Long Island sort of so special for a domestic getaway, either for a New Yorker. New Yorkers probably say, well, I know where the Hamptons are, things like that, or I know where Fire Island is. But what makes it so special to get away for them and for other visitors coming from other nearby destinations?
Right. Well, I think it's funny because I actually moved to Long Island just about 5 years ago from Arizona. And I will tell you, outside of the Northeast corridor, most people don't even know that the Hamptons are on Long Island. They know they're somewhere in the Northeast, somewhere, but everyone's heard of them, but probably couldn't pinpoint them on the map. Here locally, of course, in New York and the region, everyone knows the Hamptons, but there is so much more to discover about Long Island. And that's really what the world that we're living in is giving us the opportunity to do right now, is introduce some of the hidden gems about, our destination. And what makes us special is I think that we are a very long island and we have a lot of diversity. And we've got, New York City on one end and then the Hamptons and the vineyards on the other. But in between, it's really a mosaic of so many really charming New England-esque style downtowns, all with their own unique flavor and character. And it's, from the Nautical Mile to the Great Gatsby mansions, there's just so much to see and do here.
No, absolutely. And I mentioned I was just over the weekend. I actually was out in the Hamptons and seeing this, and it wasn't a good beach day either. So I was, forced to go to other attractions, museums on whaling, in Sag Harbor, and also to see this lovely New England atmosphere that I'm used to seeing in other parts of New England, so to speak. But here it was at the very end and tip of Long Island. And then you can go to the Fire Island. I have a lot of friends that's where they live. In New Yorkers, traditionally, they go to Fire Island or they go to Long Island. The Hamptons, I should say.
Yeah.
And then if they're not, they go to the beaches of Long Island, like Jones Beach. Yeah. So there's so much stuff, and we don't really think about it being so there. I mean, you can get wineries, everything else. So it's an amazing type. Now let's talk a little bit about, because obviously travel advisors are trying to devise some itineraries for their clients now, and sometimes they're looking for some top hotels and resorts. And they really are probably looking for a little more upscale. And although I got to tell you, some of those hotels in the Hamptons, the rates are certainly upscale, and the season is high right now. I mean, they're not hurting right now. But tell us a little bit about some of the accommodation options that are out there.
Yeah, we have over 15,000 hotel rooms on Long Island. And again, the word is really diversity of every different kind of aspect of accommodations. But that is a great point and a great tip. If people are looking to book on Long Island for the rest of the year, they should do it now, because the hotels, especially the more you get to the East End, their occupancy is pretty strong right now. Right. But some of, Gurney's is probably the most well-known resort in the East End. It's in Montauk. It's right on the water. It's gorgeous. And they just recently purchased the Montauk Yacht Club, which is now Gurney's Star Resort, and both very beautiful. But the thing about the East End, and whether it's the North Fork or South Fork, there are so many really high-end, charming bed and breakfasts. Inns, very small, and that's what makes us special. More than 45% of our hotels on Long Island are independently owned. But for families, there are a lot of other options. When you get a little bit further out into Riverhead, for example, there's the Indigo East End or the Hyatt Place East End, really family friendly and newer style hotels with all of the amenities that we expect. There's also a new boutique resort right across from Hyatt Place called the Preston House. It's really interesting. It was a former general of the Civil War, General Preston. It was his private home, and they've refurbished the whole thing. It's very boutique-y, closer to Manhattan. And one of the overlooked destinations, I think, is Long Beach. Long Beach is really cool. To me, it reminds me, it has the potential to be a Miami style feeling with the boardwalk and the biking. And there's a beautiful oceanfront property there called the Alegria. Gorgeous, great seafood and ocean view rooms. Or you could stay at Ohika Castle, which is...
I've heard of this one. I definitely have heard of this one. And just on Long Beach, I mean, Long Beach is a place that I think we fly over when we're going into JFK. And I would say, what's that? That looks like an amazing coastal resort. And they're saying, wait a minute, it's Long Beach. You know? And
it's fabulous. Yeah. Great restaurants. You stay at that hotel, walkable downtown. You're right on the boardwalk. There's iFly trapeze, and there are food truck lanes, and it's really a lot of activities there.
Yeah, we'll talk about the castle, though.
Ohika Castle, if you haven't heard of it, it's where Taylor Swift filmed her Blank Space video. It's where
I knew that right away. I'm sorry.
Yeah, of course. The Housewives of New Jersey just recently filmed their farewell or final episode. There, it's been in the backdrop.
The Housewives of New Jersey was filmed in Long Island. I'm crushed.
Of course. Okay. Where else are they going? Nothing's better than Long Island. So, but it's beautiful. It's got I can't remember. I want to say like 7 to 10 rooms. But a restaurant on site. It's really primarily it's a wedding venue. I mean, the weddings that they take place there are amazing. But right now, we're not really doing that. So you have a better chance of getting a room there, and the grounds are just stunning. And even if you're not staying there, they do tours. There's so much history there of the tycoons that built Long Island, the Vanderbilts and the Guggenheims, all in that area.
It's like the Great Gatsby in reality, right?
It's true. I mean, they say this is the area that the Great Gatsby was envisioned from. And it's Gold Coast style mansions. So and you start right along there, Oyster Bay, all the way through Stony Brook. You start the Washington Spy Trail. And there are some, which is the Culper Spy Ring, and this is the spy ring that George Washington used during the Revolutionary War. And we like to say Long Island is the reason you don't have a British accent. So you're welcome. Thanks to our spies.
Thank you.
Who were truly instrumental. And there's some really cute places to stay along that, including the Three Village Inn in Stony Brook. And the cabins are named after the spies that were famed there, and you can do a kayak tour, and they'll tell you all about the spy trail. So there's just really, depending on what you're interested in, whether it's luxury, family, history, there's so much to do here that, and we're getting at the tail end of our summer season. But here's the tip, is that fall is the best time of year to be on Long Island, hands down.
Yeah, I would agree. And I mean, right now it's high season for all these places on the coastal parts of Long Island, Hampton, Spire Island, but come September and early October, I'm sure that things open up and it's a great time to go visit and explore. Let's talk about some of the top natural attractions on Long Island. Obviously, we know all about Fire Island, which is, great national parks and all kinds of things going on. But tell us a little bit about what else there is to visit.
Fire Island, we'll start there because that's a great leadoff. National Seashore, the Lighthouse, the Sunken Meadow and the Sunken Forest, and a carless island. Most people don't realize you can only get there via ferry, and so truly a wonderful escape where you can have your own space. But Long Island is a lot like that. I mean, I think a lot of people picture it to be, when you get closer to the city, more like Queens, an extension of Queens, whereas really it's very rural. The further you go out east, the more rural you get to the farm stands. But both counties have tremendous parks and public beaches. New York, state parks has Jones Beach and so many incredible outdoor facilities. But there are really wonderful hiking and biking trails. And we have all of this on discoverlongisland.com. We're highlighting this for people now more than ever because people are really looking for those outdoor activities. But another location like Old Westbury Gardens. which is, again, one of those great Gatsby-style mansions, but incredible garden grounds where you can just really get lost, down to the North Fork, where you can go through a sunflower maze, or go, or as we get closer to the fall, a corn maze, and there's apple picking and there's peach picking right now. A lot of that great harvest fun. So, we're really, there's a lot of hidden niches throughout Long Island where you can go and find your secret spot and have a nice getaway and feel safe and away from the crowds.
No, that's great. Now, Corolla, you already mentioned some of the history, but what are some of the historic attractions, museums, and other things in Long Island? You said the Washington Spy Trail, which, but there are other things I know because I've actually been in a couple. I was at a whaling museum this past weekend out in Sag Harbor. So there's a lot of stuff to do, right?
There is, and I think that's one of the overlooked things. We're so renowned for our beaches that people sometimes forget how much incredible history we have here. We talked about the Culper Spy Ring, but we also have Sagamore Hill in Oyster Bay, which is Teddy Roosevelt's full year-round home, and it's a national park, in fact. And what people don't know is that it was the first. They call it the Summer White House because before Teddy Roosevelt was president, Washington, D.C., the government would actually close during the summer because people would leave Washington, D.C. because it gets so humid and miserable there with pre-air conditioning days.
Sure.
But because he would go back to his summer home in Oyster Bay, they had invented the telephone. And he would go down to the local drugstore and he was able to keep the government open. So it was the first time ever that the government was open year-round, was during his presidency. And there's so many great stories like that. But the Cradle of Aviation Museum, we actually have an area on Long Island called Museum Row. It's got so many museums, but probably the most renowned is the Cradle of Aviation. And because we had Grumman here, located here, what people don't realize is every lunar module was tested and built right here on Long Island. So we have a great aerospace history here and legacy with all of with NASA. So we're very proud of that.
Yeah, I've always wanted to do that, and I never have. And I always think about it. I want to go take a look. So now you're spurring me to think about that again because it sounds like I really like aviation museums, and this is one I've never been to.
It's remarkable. It's really remarkable, and people have no idea really the legacy that Long Island played in aerospace and space travel. And one more thing I'll mention is the Shinnecocks. When you think about, when you just said, where are you? I'm in Hauppauge and I live in Setauket, and there's so many Native American names, Montauk, around us. And those all stemmed from our Native American heritage here as well. So, and the African American Museum. And when you get to the East End, there's so many fabulous art museums, Parish Art Museum and Pollock House. And what they'll tell you on the East End is that it's easier to name artists that weren't influenced and didn't spend time in the Hamptons than it is for everyone that did, because of the way that it sits out on the peninsula. There's this just incredible soft lighting that happens in that area that artists really love to capture. So most of the famous artists and painters that have ever lived have spent time out there, and you can get some really great insights.
No, I'm great. And I went to a gallery in another museum out in the Hamptons this weekend that were just amazing. And I was sort of caught by surprise. You think you're going out there to the beach and let's say it rains, so you got some other things to do. And there's a lot of things to go explore. And it's a fascinating place. Let's talk a little bit about some of the activities and events. And again, maybe COVID pending, depending, that you can experience, that travelers can experience on Long Island, either late summer or fall. Possibly ones that might still remain open?
Well, it's a difficult question, and we're always just really careful to tell people to call first and utilize our website. We have a whole events platform which will tell you whether it's still going on, because we have, typically this time of year, really wonderful world-class events like the Oyster Festival, the Hamptons Film Festival, the Hamptons Classic. There's so many wonderful events, but I don't feel confident in telling travel advisors to plan on that. So, but we'd still have wonderful attractions that are open, like the Long Island Aquarium, and they might have fun, see the penguins, feed things. There's activities happening around, but it's just in this ever-changing world that we're living in, we're being very, very careful because, safety for our residents and our employees and our guests is obviously paramount.
Well, we're going to get to that safety question in a second, because you just had an interesting affiliation with someone. But we're going to, last thing I wanted to ask you, and this is sort of everybody wants to go find great restaurants, top dining options in Long Island. And I assume a lot of them are accessible with outdoor dining now.
So many restaurants, and even a lot of our downtowns have completely, in a moment's notice, changed their zoning, and they're closing the main streets, and you can now sit outside, and there's tents in the parking lot, and they've put little plants around. And I'll tell you what, that's again one of the silver linings we were talking about coming out of this, because in a normal time, getting small Long Island towns to change their zoning is almost impossible. So the fact that everybody was able to do it so quickly, and it's been a really wonderful experience, from brew pubs to vineyards to restaurants. And so I'll just tell your viewers right now that Long Island does have the best pizza in New York State.
Now that's a big claim. You're gonna have to prove to me.
I stand by it. And the best bagels, and really incredible seafood. Heard farm to table. We have all the farms out here, but honestly, the seafood that we bring in that comes straight from the commercial fishermen to your plate. It's and again, in kind of these small, charming, really independently owned restaurants on every corner.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong.
Well, and also you've got some great wine too, if I recall. I mean, it's I remember years and years ago, my father was, I'm only going to get European or California wines, and now there are a lot of places, Long Island, Hudson Valley, places like that, that are actually producing some wonderful new wines, and I think there's probably still the opportunity to go visit some of these, right?
Absolutely. Most of them, if not almost all of them, are open. And because they do have they're vast outdoor spaces. There are 60 different vineyards on the North Fork alone. And then you have the famous Wolfer Vineyard on the South Fork, which has their very famous Summer in a Bottle Rosé, which is very popular. But there's actually a newer vineyard in a town closer west called Northport on the North Shore. So if you're taking a ferry from Connecticut to the North Shore, and it is beautiful. It's kind of tucked away in this residential area. So if you don't want to get in that one-lane traffic all the way to the East End, there are actually great options throughout Long Island that you can enjoy.
No, that's great. And it's definitely culinary and drinking, wine and dine. It's a great place to go visit. Now,
I don't know if I said the name. It's called Del Vino Vineyards.
Del Vino Vineyards.
It's beautiful. That's a secret tip.
All right, we'll keep that in mind. And next time I go out to Long Island, I'll make a stop. Now, we talked about health and safety. And in fact, indeed, you just appointed Health and Wellness Ambassador, Dr. Michelle Reed, for Discover Long Island. What will sort of Dr. Reed's mission be, and how will this help boost travel and tourism in Long Island?
Yes, this has been an incredible collaboration, because we follow travel sentiment nationally every week. We get surveys from esteemed research companies like Longwoods and Destination Analyst, and what they're all telling us is that travel confidence in safety is really not rising right now. With what you're seeing in the media, it's so critical. It's not just about opening our businesses and telling people what's open. And I'm sure you all are facing this with your customers, just really educating them about how they can have a safe experience and comforting them. Sure. So Dr. Reed she's a COVID survivor, and she's a medical board practitioner. She owns her own practice. She's also a best-selling author of The Fit Doc. And she really promotes just healthy lifestyle and nutrition. And so she serves two really key purposes for us. One is she's obviously helping our industry and guiding our protocols to make sure that what we're implementing, from hotels to events, anytime we have questions, if we have meeting planners that want to come in, or travel advisors that need help, she's a great resource to say, this is what we're doing. And she's guiding us, but also providing those tips to customers and visitors and residents to say, you can go out, and you can, if you wear a mask and wash your hands and follow the guidelines, you can go out safely, and you should, because mental health and physical health is just as important. Getting out and feeling good and getting some fresh air, it's just as important as staying safe in your home sometimes. Oh,
I totally agree. Having been quarantined myself for a few weeks here in my apartment, it's no fun. And you have to get out and plan it, accordingly once you're feeling up to going. Now, I guess you're also working on some new promotions, and in fact, you just launched a free mobile sort of downtown deals pass for at least places in Nassau and Suffolk counties in Long Island. What does this pass provide for visitors in terms of products and services, and also how can they get it?
Yeah, so I encourage everyone to go to our website for more information on all of these things. If you go to discoverlongisland.com, we have a Travel Confidently page, where you can get access to Dr. Reed's information, as well as our Be Safe travel pledge that we gave to all of our businesses.
Okay.
That if they took the pledge, and they get to download free signage. And then also it's discoverlongisland.com/deals is our brand new mobile travel pass. And when we implemented this brand new technology, which you sign up online, and then you'll get a text to download it. It's not an app, so it doesn't take up space on your phone, and it's not bulky. You immediately download it, and then it shows you how to go to all the different downtowns. It shows you two things. First of all, what we were just talking about, the hidden gems. Mm-hmm. These are downtowns that you may not have heard of. Great Neck, Rockville Center, Patchogue, Farmingdale, Huntington, fabulous downtowns, Greenport, but it shows you all the great businesses that are located in those downtowns that you can go and have a wonderful day. And then it has deals that you can access from a touch-free system. You just show it, you hit redeem, you don't have to touch or do anything or have any coupons. It's just a great way to inspire people to explore some of our hidden niches. And, our downtowns, I think it's really makes up the character of Long Island. That's when you really meet the locals. Mm-hmm. You'll get in there. They're all, local Long Islanders for life, most of them. Sure. And you really start to understand our unique character.
No, and exploring the towns, people don't think of that. I mean, they think of maybe towns out on the far east end of Long Island, but there are towns all over Long Island that are just beautiful. And, this comes from a guy whose exposure to Long Island was going to Jones Beach, maybe on the weekends, and actually marrying a girl from Great Neck. But that's
so Great Neck's one of our downtowns. That's awesome.
It is. I do know Great Neck. I do know Great Neck, but I didn't really know much beyond the parkways on how the best route to get to Long Island. Oh, I did go see Springsteen in Nassau Coliseum many years ago. But we won't go into that. But no,
you're not alone. You're not alone. And I have to tell you, it's not just visitors. I mean, so many Long Island residents. We stay in our own little pocket neighborhoods. We know what we know. People that have lived here their whole lives have not explored, have not been since downtown. A lot of these downtowns started revitalizing in the last decade, and it's really opening everyone's eyes. So this is a silver lining of being able to showcase more of our destination and really surprise people.
No, it's great, and it's a great location and a place. We're all looking for domestic, destinations now. At least travel advisors who might have been focused more on international destinations and cruises. But now they're coming up with, new ways for their clients to go explore and go on vacation, even though that vacation may not necessarily be this month or next month, but into the fall. So it's a great time to do that. Now, obviously, tell us a little bit about the resources that Discover Long Island has for travel advisors so they can create these travel programs and itineraries for their clients.
So we've completely redone Discover Long Island. We've overhauled it at least a dozen times, probably in the last 3 months, because, overnight our entire website was tone deaf. And so we went to, just hold fast and don't go anywhere to virtual. And now we're back to this is what's open, travel confidently, be safe. But we also have a new platform on there called Trip Ideas, where we built itinerary ideas for you, 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, based on all different kinds of themes. And then people can go on and you can favorite your favorite things, and it builds you an itinerary. It shows you on a custom map the things that you favorited, and then you can do 360-degree tours of those businesses. So we've really done a lot of work to help travel advisors and visitors understand how to navigate our destination, because people think you see Long Island on a map, it looks like this, but it's 120 miles long. It is a Long Island, and you're not going to go tip to tip in one day. So we're trying to help educate people how to have these wonderful experiences. So we have that, of course. We have our mobile visitor center. Mm-hmm. Her name is Lily. We had a Facebook naming contest and named her Lili.
There you go.
And normally she's going to all these great events that we have, but we're not doing that anymore. So we're getting ready to launch Long Island TV. And this is going to be a show where Lily goes around every week and shows you as a road trip on how to experience Long Island from the views of Long Islanders. So we're excited about that. It'll be launching soon. You can follow our YouTube channel for that. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have great videos on there just all the time, just to get you inspired and to get your customers inspired. I think when you see some of the videos, like our Belong video and our beverage video, it's really going to surprise people. I think people might have a specific perception about our destination, but when you start to see all the imagery, I think it'll get you and your customers excited about staying more close to home.
Well, you already got me excited about going back, and I'm a relative local, but obviously still inexperienced at discovering most of the other part of Long Island. We have to get off the Long Island Expressway. I mean, that's kind of important. That was the thoroughfare from New York City to the Hamptons, or going to Patchogue and taking the ferry out to Fire Island, which I did do years ago, although back then I stayed in a pup tent out in the national park, which I wouldn't recommend because it's a little hot sometimes. Mm-hmm. But fortunately, we found some friends who had a house there. So that was a wonderful trip, and I know a lot of people just know those parts, but it sounds like there's so much more to do and see and stay in the rest of Long Island.
It's true, and accommodations, they can be luxurious and very pricey, or we have a lot of mid-level, mid-service properties, Holiday Inn Expresses, Hampton Inns throughout Long Island in these little pockets where families can go and enjoy themselves at a reasonable price, and then you have these great areas to explore where you're not stuck on the expressway for 2 hours trying to get all the way to the end. There's plenty of wonderful places for you to explore all throughout.
Well, Kristen, thank you very much for taking the time to tell us a lot about Long Island. You're getting me excited about going there again, and I'm local, so that might be another road trip very soon. Again, thank you for taking the time.
Thank you so much for having me and for talking about Long Island. And discover Long Island at discoverlongisland.com. And of course, please call us if anybody has any questions.
I'm Jane Schillinglaw, and this is Insider Travel Report.